since its inception 14 years ago, the South Saharan Social Development Organisation in Nigeria has become a vital platform for young women and men. The non-profit organisation focuses on equipping youth with social, economic, educational and political skills needed to survive in a rapidly changing region. It also works to educate women and children about health issues from HIV and AIDS to TB to health and nutrition. I'd like to say that joining me in the studio is the International Director for the South Saharan Social Development Organisation, Jubilee Dominic Charles. Thank you ever so much for coming in and having a chat.
Oh, thank you.
14 years. What do you do? I mean, I've sort of given an introduction, but that, I guess, just touches the iceberg of what you've done.
That's right, yeah. We've done an awful lot of work. And, and I have to really commend our supporters. We have been supported by the MacArthur Foundation, by the Ford Foundation, by Oxfam, by all sorts of people. And, we've done a lot of work, just, helping the most marginalized people in our society. Right now, we're doing some very good work with the, with young people who suffer from various physical disabilities. And
we'll come to that in a minute. 14 years, what would you sort of say the scale of what you've achieved that perhaps other organisations haven't been able to?
Well, we have been able to reach an awful lot of young people particularly. We've had a couple of radio programs that have really been able to mobilize young people to getting them to taking an active part in nation building and, getting them to really see that it always starts with the individual and that the great works that we've seen around the world, from the abolition of slavery to the civil rights movement to Christianity, that's all been started by just one person.
Do you think that it's a case that if you sort of, poke and cajole sort of the youth of today in Africa and Nigeria in particular, that they can gain a momentum themselves and they can start taking ownership of their lives, their future, their nation?
I do think that, and in fact, if I didn't think that, there would be no point at all in what we do. So yes, I absolutely believe that it's always a matter of education. It's always a matter of getting someone to actually start thinking for themselves and really reclaiming the power that we all innately have within us that we may be unaware of.
Now, you've talked about the amount of work you do on health issues, but there, sort of as a sideline to that, the work you've been doing on disability issues.
Yeah.
What's that amounted to?
Well, that's actually something we stumbled upon. I think that Oxfam had a call for proposals for, something to do with working with people with physical disabilities. And one of our trustees, became very aware that every person in Nigeria has at least 2 cell phones, and training people to repair mobile phones would actually be something great for someone who is otherwise disabled in many other areas.
I mean, I've been around Lagos and I've been staggered by the number of people who have particularly limbs missing, and they all need help. To what extent is the state failing and NGOs like yourself are going in and doing things to sort of transform these people's lives?
Well, the state is failing completely in the sense that there isn't any discernible social facility for people suffering with disabilities. There are a few sort of government rehab centres, but they are largely neglected and underfunded. And it really depends on people such as ourselves to, get in and bridge that huge gap.
Does that look at David, one boy that you've been able to help? Just how have you transformed his life? And, tell us his story.
Well, David was electrocuted. He touched a live wire which should never have been there in the first place. But again, this is an example of how the state does fail people. I don't want to go into that. But anyway, he was very badly burned and had to have both his forearms amputated. He was 18 years old. This happened last year. This young man is 19. And, he heard about the work that we were doing, the particular training program, training people to repair mobile phones, and he came because he didn't know what the program was. Somebody had told him it was about learning computers or something, and he's passionate about IT, so he came along. And of course I was heartbroken because there's this young guy with no arms. How the hell is he going to start repairing mobile phones? But he was very interested and he wanted to do it after I explained it to him. And just talking to him, I could see how bright he was. So I said, yeah, go ahead. And he's doing extraordinarily well. So we're trying to raise some money to get arms for David.
So that's kind of what you need to do for him, but he's just one of tens, hundreds, thousands of people that need, I guess, different things. How can you, going forward, really do the best by all these people? Because I guess each individual must feel like a personal project for you.
Well, absolutely. But again, like I said before, great movements have been started by just one person. I believe that David is the kind of young man that would really touch an awful lot of people if given the chance. He's very bright and he's very motivated. And
to what extent is somebody like David sort of prejudiced against simply because of an accident like that left him limbless?
Oh, I mean, he's just looked at as less than human. He's discriminated against by everybody, including his family. In fact, he's living in a very sort of run-down rehab facility in Enugu in the southeast of Nigeria because somebody said to him, listen, if you go there, you'll find other people like you. Because, I mean, understandably, he was devastated when he lost both his hands, His family weren't really having anything to do with him. People looked down on him by virtue of the fact that, he has no arms.
Could talk to you forever, but you can't help everybody, but
True.
I get the impression that you'd like to. Where can you take the charity now, geographically and in the scale of what you would like to achieve?
Well, certainly we can take it all over Nigeria. I would love to see South Sahara and actually live up to its name and be represented in Africa south of the Sahara. We start in small parts. We have a website that people can go to. I would really, I don't want to make a huge plug, but I would love people to donate to David's cause, and at least let's get him some arms for Christmas or something.
Jubilee Dominic Charles, it's been a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you so
for coming
much.
in.